Hello, pre-algebra students. So we spent a lot of time talking about factors in the previous section, and now we are going to talk about the idea of a prime factorization. And first off, I want to remind you what a prime number is, right? A prime number is a number with only two factors, and those factors are itself and 1. So the only numbers that we can divide this number by is 1 and itself. So here's some examples of some prime numbers. The first couple are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, and then so on and so forth. Right? The hard part about prime numbers is there's really no consistent pattern about how they kind of fall in place. Right? They're not necessarily all of the odd numbers, they're not all of the even numbers, they're just a group of numbers that are only divisible by themselves in 1. So what we're going to talk about today is the prime factorization. And that is the list or the multiples of prime numbers that make up a given number. So for instance, if we look at 6, its prime factorization would be 2 and 3, right? Because if we multiply 2 times 3, we get 6, and 2 and 3 are both prime numbers. Same thing if we look at 10. 10 is 2 times 5. Both of those numbers are prime. All right, that would be what's considered the prime factorization. So there's two different ways that we're going to talk about prime factorization, and I want you to try both, but you don't have to do both all of the time, right? You're going to try to figure out what works best for you and what makes the most sense for you and what you can understand the best and use that method. Okay, so if I want to make the prime factorization for 48, I'm going to first use what's called a factor tree. And all that is we are going to look at 48 and try to find two factors that we can divide or multiply together to get 48, or just pick a number that we can divide 48 by. So first off, I know 48 is even, so I'm going to use 2 times 24, right? If I do, on my calculator, if I do 48 divided by 2, I get 24. Now I look at my numbers of factors that I have, and the question that I want to know is the factor prime. So when I look at this, 2 is a prime number, so I'm going to circle it, right? Once I hit a prime number in my factor tree, I stop. 24 is not. So I can break that down into two different factors. Again, this is divisible by 2. So that'll be 2 times 12. Again, 2 is prime. 12 is not. I can break that down. Again, 12 is even. So I can make that as 2 times 6. Again, 2 is even. 6 is not. So that'll be 2 times 3. Now both of these are prime numbers. So how we write this is that 48 equals, and now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 2's, and a 3. So if I were to type that into my calculator now, I will get 48. So you can go ahead and try that if you want. I also want to show you that no matter how you break it down, so let's say you chose a different factor. Let's say you chose 6 and 8 as your two factors. So again, 6 is not prime. We can break it down into 2 and 3. 8's not prime. That's 2 and 4. 2's prime. 3's prime. 2's prime. 4 is not. So you can see no matter how I start my factor tree, I am still going to get 4 2's and a 3 to be my prime factorization. And what's special is that each number has a unique prime factorization. And what that means is that it's only special to itself. So the only prime numbers that we can multiply together to get 48 are 2, 2, 2, 2, and 3. and no other combination of prime numbers will multiply together to get 48. So I'd like you to pause this video a second, go ahead and do example 2, and then we'll come back and check it out. Now, for 60, again, you can start your factor tree however you want. So I know that this is divisible by 10, so I'm going to split this up into 6 and 10. Right? There's a whole bunch of different other combinations. We talked about doing factors. Right? We could do 2 and 30, 3 and 20, and so on and so forth. I chose 6 and 10. Again, it doesn't matter where you start. So 6 is not a prime number. I know that that is going to be 2 and 3. 10 is not a prime number. I know that's going to be 2 and 5. And now I look, 2 is prime, 3 is prime, 2 is prime, 5 is prime. So my prime factorization is 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. And one thing I want you to notice, I write my factors in numerical order from least to greatest. Again, if you do 2 times 2 times 3 times 5, that will get you to 60. Okay, so now I'm going to stop this video and move on to the next one where we talk about another method to do prime factorization. And then at the end, you can kind of pick whichever one makes the most sense to you.